Welcome to the Beacon by Soul 33, teachings for your past, present and future. Good morning, everybody. It is the 2nd of December here in New Zealand. It is December and we are in that new moon energy at the moment. It was technically yesterday here in New Zealand, but I know that there are many of you listening all over the world, so that energy is still remaining. And I just want to bring that in right at the beginning as we go through and recap last week's Monday mantra and get into the new one. Remember, all of them transition, so it's not just exclusively for 1 week. A lot of people are still feeling and picking up the anchor thing and the Krishna energy and the elephant energy, all of those things. So keep that all in mind as we're recapping and talking about what is new, what do we need for our soul progression. And remember, if you're listening to this on the Beacon app, on Spotify, on YouTube, don't forget to tag, like, subscribe, share, all of the things that enable me to create more resources for you. I'm so grateful to have you all here listening and getting this transmission, which is so important, because how I show up is what we're all going to need for the week ahead. Now, as we look at last week, the Monday mantra was around playfulness. Solutions born from playfulness restore a new order. And we have started into Mercury retrograde, and this is a time of really, remember I brought up those words, contemplation and contempt, a couple of weeks ago. That's still something that we are needing to consider both in our personal lives and also in the global scheme of things, like what is actually happening around us as well. And this playfulness is what Spirit wanted us to bring into our daily rituals. Now, I have to admit, it was difficult for me to find playfulness last week because I was very busy. I was very distracted, as you would have seen on my Instagram yesterday. I put up, I was with podcasts all week, and I was working and all of that, and also had some emotional things come up around Wednesday and Thursday. But I did realize why Spirit brought that up, because in through those challenges, in through the busyness, in through the daily things that we do, we need to do them a bit more playfully. Do you know, my mother said something to me last week that I really needed to hear. And she said to me, prioritize yourself. She said, because you're never going to see this day again. When this day is gone, you're not ever going to see this day again. So live it the way that you want and the way that you can, and turn it around. And so those rituals, like I was drinking a lot of cacao last week. I was soaking my feet in Epsom salt. That to me was how I was bringing in playfulness. It wasn't like skipping around. It was, I had a lot of things to do, and I let myself have those little ceremonies and bringing in pleasure with what I was doing anyway. Because recording podcasts and things, it's fun, but it's stressful because you know, a mental capacity has to be there, knowing that lots of people are going to listen to it. There's all of that. So it's like, how can I bring more pleasure to all of my experiences, which is a form of play. We have to find the lighter side of things. This ongoing ceremonial energy that we've got, really important, because we've got a lot of ancestor awakening happening around us to find that power. And I'm seeing this in clients I'm seeing as well, where, they're doing something, but they're not thinking about how they're healing people from their ancestral line through what they're doing or what they're not doing. And so Spirit drew our attention to feeling worn, being worn. Let me tell you, Thursday was I was worn down. I was like, yep, I'm totally worn down on this topic. I'm worn out. But then I realized when I got through that hump, it was like, I'm going to repurpose this. I'm going to renew it, and I'm going to surrender that this part of it no longer serves me anymore, but I need to forgive and move on and see a new day, because that day that I just had, I'm not going to see again, and I don't need to carry it forward where I don't need to. So my question to you is for you to journal and think about right now is, how have you been contemplating bringing more play and pleasure into your life? How are you bringing in ceremonies into your daily rituals? Let me know down in the comments as well, if you're in the group chat on the app. And where have you been feeling worn out, worn down? Where does it need to be recycled and repurposed and transformed because it no longer serves you anymore? Taking that moment to look at what requires forgiveness. I really got into my fire mode on Thursday. And I was thinking, there's some part of the situation that I haven't forgiven, because I had to go back and look at the Monday mantra. And then I really realized why Spirit had brought up the worn word, worn out, worn down. And I knew where I needed to forgive. And it was in myself and in the situation as well. And trusting our intuition to allow the perception of what we are feeling to guide us, knowing that we don't need to stay the same. Spirit is asking us to avoid lingering in the past and envision how our responses now are shaping every situation we move forward in the future. Because I was thinking, why is the situation coming up again? Like, why am I feeling this again? But what I realized is that it's getting less and less intense because of how I am responding. How are you responding to everything in your life that is going on at the moment? Where can you find pleasure? Where can you find joy? Where can you find play? Do you know what I found interesting? Last week, 2 separate friends sent me videos of their daughters and niece dancing. Just dancing. And I don't normally receive videos like this, but they were like, look at how amazing and free this child is. And I was like, this is the play that was coming in that I needed to remember. And that was encouraging me to go back to, okay, how do I make any situation in my life less serious when I can rekindle love, connection, and the ceremonial ending of something to bring in something new. So if you are having situations where you're feeling worn out, worn down, you can't do it anymore, you're over it, that is asking you to rekindle love somewhere else. It might be self-love because you're not giving yourself enough self-love. It might be love with another person, with your animal, with your young nieces and daughters and nephews who know naturally how to play because they're of that age where they have no inhibitions. And as we navigate this energy, it's a transformative time. It's like, November has been about shedding illusions, and I have really seen that in my life with all the, Uluru and Anchor Bay and things going on in my own life. And we need to embrace these lessons that karma is bringing us, because it's not negative. It's for it to get lesser and lesser, where it doesn't affect us as much anymore, where it can happen. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm moving on from this now because I'm not ever going to see this day again. So I'm not going to waste any further days. It's like every intention and every action and every energy that we send into the world is coming back. Like, I had to question myself with the discussion of some of my other with my close group of friends on Thursday when I was upset about something. Why am I giving the situation so much energy? Because it's taking away from me. I had to repurpose it and bring it back to myself because I wanted it to return to me in an uplifting way, in a way that is going to be that metamorphosis of the wings. Taking a short holiday or planning a trip. Now, that's something that I am doing because, as you know, I like my little adventures here and there. And so if you're rediscovering that sense of playfulness, it might not be right now. Your playfulness might come in the dreams. It might come in the intentions, especially with the new moon energy in Sagittarius. It's about really expressing yourself. This is why we were talking about expressing ourselves authentically. It all leads in. It's all telling a story of why we're focusing on certain things in one week because we are needing it in the next week or the weeks after. So planning a trip, whether it's a short trip or a long trip or a weekend away or just something, that might be a good thing to bring in the playfulness of knowing that you've got something to look forward. The week that we've just had, I noticed when I said last week this unique opportunity to balance traditional practices with modern adaptations. I saw that in how I was utilizing my ceremonies that I was doing, little ceremonies like foot soaking with petals in it. And it's like that took me to my ceremony that I had with my friends over the weekend, where there was a ceremony where my feet were soaking in petals. It's like we're creating these ceremonies that trigger a positive, loving response in our body, a positive, loving energy to align us with the karma that we're wanting to bring in. And we are also looking at, those death-like transitions. And I know I've seen that a lot this month, and I've been thinking a lot about death. I've been thinking about the people that have died, my two friends, my friend who died last year, and then my other friend that died in September, my grandmother, all of these people have been coming to me. And it feels like that death-like energy is offering a connection to adapt into what is coming, because we're releasing our fear around it, but also being aligned to abundance, love abundantly, and pursue our passions abundantly, knowing that there's more there for us, and us having more is not taking away from someone else, and someone else having more is not taking away from us. Our passions stay true to our beliefs. So when you are working on a passion, or when you're living passionately, that is staying true to your soul beliefs, that your birthright is to be free, is to be joyful. It is to be growing and making transitions that are going to help you evolve. This whole week that we've had was about walking this earth, fully embracing both our physical and spiritual lives. I was on podcast talking about day-to-day things and spiritual things, but also I was having my own personal things going on, which is like, oh, here we go, the physical journey. Gaia needs to work this out. And this whole month of November, a revelation, shedding of illusions, mystical experiences. Like on Thursday, because I had a lot of things going on, I had lights, like physical lamps flashing all over my house, because I needed to calm down and bring that energy back into something that was going to remind me, hey, what are your intentions here? What have you observed? What have you acknowledged? And are you prepared to see what is through this when you get through this, when you have crossed that bridge? Because a new order is on the horizon. As we moved through the week, I shared a photo. It was a random photo. My friend actually took this photo of me dancing. And I think people forget that we need to move our body. It's not about being good at it, but I used to love dancing. I did ballet right up until my grade 8, and I actually I did it up to intermediate actually. So I danced my whole life, but I hardly dance now. But over the weekend, I had danced the previous weekend with my friends, and it reminded me that we're encouraged to bring that sense of play. We can all put our headphones on and dance around the house when we're doing our day-to-day things. It's like a sense of healing takes place when we're doing that for ourselves. But that playful spirit is how solutions come. Because when we watch children play, the tower is falling. It's coming back up because they're rebuilding it in different ways. It's like engaging in playful communication. I noticed when I was having serious conversations last week, we're throwing in playfulness as well, because it's like, hang on, this is a really ridiculous thing that we are having to talk about. So let's see the light side of it, and how can we connect rather than break the connection. And this is in all areas of our lives. I was seeing it. And so where there's resistance, there is no bridge. Where there is understanding and mutual growth to move forward, that's when you can play and build momentum. We don't need to be so serious all the time. And then the card that came up last week was the balance card. I found it interesting because the imagery that my graphic designer and I chose for these cards years ago was the rocks, odd rocks all being put up in a tower. And on my Instagram feed, I follow an Uluru page where it's like the national parks page. And they called it a name. Let's have a look if I can find it now. But they'd put up a image of people who have done a rock formation like that. And I was thinking, okay, this is not just a coincidence. They're showing this to me for a reason. Here we go. It's called a rock, CARNS, a rock cairns or rock cairns. I'm not sure, Cairns is the place in Australia, but rock cairns. And it says here on the See Uluru page, I'll show you if you're watching the screen. If you can see, there we go, that's like the similar rock formation that's on the balance card. It says here, rock cairns are human-made stacks of rocks that have been used in many countries throughout history for various cultural and religious and practical reasons. So that comes back to ceremony, right? It comes back like they used to be stacked. However, they say here it's commonly done for fun or social media posts. However, rock cairns have no place at Uluru or Katajuta National Park. Stacking a few rocks may seem harmless. However, when done by visitors, it can have a negative impact. So I found this fascinating because when I pulled the balance card for all of us, the message that came out was balance is achieved when we embrace playfulness, but there's a right time and place for that, because obviously doing that, the intention is playing. The intention of people building those rock cairns, which they're called, are just for fun. Whereas when we allow ourselves to truly express feelings and share emotions without fear and judgment, we come back to a balanced state to know that if we would know not to do that there, but we can play at home. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a time and place and an intention for everything that gives us the result or the response that we need, but we want it to be for our highest good. So karma is playing a big role in our balance because it's inviting us to recognize what is stacked in our favor. Children build towers and let them collapse, which Uluru didn't want in terms of playfulness, but they told us that those rock cairns were done for religious and practical purposes before. And remember how when I was talking in last week's Monday Mantra, I was talking about I'm seeing the tower card, but it wasn't that everything was collapsing. It was just some things were being thrown out of the tower to be addressed, to see, okay, what am I going to rebuild again? What am I going to be unafraid of now for the process of moving forward? And that's why the tower card came up, because it was representing the collapse of control in order to return to a state of balance. And that's something that I need to remember always, is not to control too much. Remember, whatever we are doing, be sure to balance it with play. Play is going to look different for all of us. It's going to be in big spurts and small spurts. It's going to be colouring. It's going to be bringing ceremony into your life. It's all a form of lightening things up. The elephant thing. Remember how I was telling you the elephant story? Okay. Now, one of the podcasts I did, hopefully I've still got it, after he and I finished talking, he screenshot and WhatsApped a comment that he had on his YouTube page that came in directly after he and I were discussing elephants. And someone has written, I'll give this person credit, at Cherie Glasson 22. And she's put here, with all the elephants, I think of Ganesha, the mover of obstacles. And the obstacle Ganesha is moving right now is human shadow blocks and traumas, and so that there may be a clear passageway from our past to our future, and from our future to our past. The elephants are signals we have cleared this passageway now, which was so interesting because he and I had finished talking about that, and I think I'd already put up the Ganesha post, so that message came in to validate everything that many of us are picking up with the special elephant energy. And as I was reflecting on why are these recurring experiences happening? Why do they surface when we least expect them? You know how you're going through life and you're like, yay, life is amazing. And then something happens and it just switches everything. But this is why they come up, because it's like we need to address it genuinely. And if it's with someone, it's like genuinely addressing it because we're committed to working through the challenges. And working with someone means, a friend of mine who's a healer who I saw over the weekend said she's been talking to spirits like, they're her best mates. And it's like working together to heal and move through those passageways, those challenges. And when we choose to share our lives with others, it's like it's a crucial time to recognize that everyone's at different stages. I'm in a different stage, you're at a different stage. Nothing is wrong, no one is better than the other, but we all hold different expectations. So you have to be, especially during Mercury retrograde, if you are having any types of conflicts or misunderstandings, it is because it is asking for us to really be clear what is on the page, how are we moving through from the past into the future because we don't want to take those old baggage, the old rocks with us anymore, unless it's with ceremony, unless it's with love, unless it's with connection. It's inevitable that for the sake of our growth, the metaphorical tower in our lives sometimes starts to shed those old parts, revealing elements we don't need to carry into the future anymore. As new opportunities arise, the old aspects of ourselves may rise to the surface, creating a bit of chaos, which I saw that chaos last week. And this disruption is what helps us reevaluate how to live our lives without fear, while we are also confronting the feelings of being worn down or exhausted, which I know this time of year brings for many, many people. But the obstacles are being shifted through this disruption. And when we feel drained, it can be really, really difficult to bring in playfulness. But it's all part of the dance of life. And we may be finding ourselves being weighed down at times, yet we must strive to play like children, because we're never going to see this day again, and foster something new within ourselves. Even when we don't feel like being playful, it is the very act of play when we stop and do something with pleasure. Children play because it's fun, it's pleasurable for them. It's because we are being called to embrace that act of play, being focused in that moment of doing things differently, doing things lightly. Perhaps it's playing with our feelings too. That came to me last week as well. It's like, let's pull this feeling out and put it in front of me and observe it and play with that energy, so that we can really process it through joy rather than through the ego, which wants to hold on to all the pain and the victim and this is happening to me and this is the drama. I know this very well in my own life and have been working through it and still do. And then obviously I shared a bit of a reel of what was happening part of my week last week with the podcast coming soon. And they're just really nice conversations, which will be released when the hosts want to release them. Remember, I'm always here for you, but I am one person and I'm doing my very best to see all of you. It's always the right time when you do see me. But if you're needing any help, like a mini reading or a personalized meditation, remember, mini readings are for short responses, like you're needing clarity on something. I cannot go into big things there because I look at things in layers. And also personalized meditations will be a great thing for you to work with over the holiday season. And remember, I channel in a frequency for you at that time, just like how when I work with people. So if you're needing any help, if you need app membership help, anything like that, or tech help, Kieran is the person to ask, soul33@gmail.com. And don't forget to put in your subject title what you are looking for. And remember, if you have emailed, we do receive a large number of emails, and Kieran will get to it at the right time. But you've got the app and the Monday mantras and the meditations, the homework that's set every week. And also, while I remember, your December meditation will be up soon. It will be up this week. Usually I put it up on a Thursday of the first week of a month. So if I can get it up before then, I will. Soul33@gmail.com. Okay, let's get into this week's Monday mantra. This is going to require some thinking, because remember, these Monday mantras sometimes will really require us to think as we go through the week. The words are, my compound perspective will pave the way for the new year. My compound perspective will pave the way for the new year. December is a really special month. We've got 2 new moons this month, one now at the beginning of the week and one at the end of the month. And so this is like a unique opportunity for us to really solidify our intentions before the new year arrives, because beneath everything that's going on, it was so funny when I went to see my healer friend over the weekend for bodywork. She's massaging me and doing her thing, and I suddenly said, "You're excited, aren't you?" And she said, "Oh my God." She said, "I am." I said, "So am I." And she said, "But there's nothing to be excited about." She said, "I'm so glad you're picking that up." And I said, "It is. It's for all of us. There is an excitement and a magic that's coming in. And beneath everything that's going on in our lives, everything that people are experiencing, which is challenging, there's some underlying excitement. And this week brings a powerful new moon energy to set us up at the beginning of the week to cultivate our desires for the future, to dream big. You know, we've broken so many old cycles, like the clients I saw last week. They may not realize it, but I can feel it. I remember having someone, I can't remember who now, but this person was a mature person. They've already lived a lot of their lives. I think they were well into their 70s, and they were like, oh, hopefully I'll be able to figure out what to do next. You don't need to figure things out anymore. It's coming when we need it to come. It's coming at the right time, and then we address it at that point, because so many things are already being broken. We just may not realize it through the work that we're doing, through sitting here with me, through doing the homework, through bringing the Monday mantras back into your life and thinking about it a few times a week. And with Mercury retrograde, it is an ideal time. Reflection, life review. And this week, we are integrating the masculine and feminine. Oh, I'm having major crown chakra activation right now. We're integrating all parts of our masculine and feminine to look at life through compound eyes. Now, this is a very weird thing, because normally I wouldn't be thinking about compound eyes, but in my meditation over the weekend, my spirit guides brought a dragonfly right into my third eye, saying, and it was like I could only see the eyes, and they're like, we are placing these lenses, these compound eyes into your eyes, which I'm now placing into your eyes, because we're going to be looking at the world and seeing the world like a mosaic. Multiple lenses of sacred geometry with multiple lenses enabling us to perceive things more quickly. Spirit is encouraging us to collaborate with the site, collaborate in life with giving, with gratitude. I know, Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all my clients who celebrate. We don't actually have that holiday here in New Zealand. When I realized, I was like, oh, no wonder Spirit keeps talking to me about giving with gratitude, and because obviously we always should do that, but it was particularly poignant because I know many of you would have been celebrating Thanksgiving. Now, while December is traditionally the month of giving, this goes beyond material giving. This week, we want to share our skills. We want to share and be of service, not to our detriment where we're giving so much, but in a way that promotes efficiency and grace. We're needing to be more efficient, working smarter. And remember, individual efforts may yield limited success, but many hands make light work. Many hands make light work. And with compound eyes, they take in light differently. It's all related, and somehow we'll piece this all together. But we are all light workers contributing to the collective effort. Those of us who are listening here, my clients, those on the app doing their homework. And interesting with the elephant energy, on December 5th, we honor Lord Ganesha because it's Ganesha Chaturthi, which is the day of celebrating him, removing of the obstacles. So we're moving through this week confidently. We're moving through this week with our knowledge and our skills and our experience to help us assist the goals that we're wanting to bring in for the new year. Okay, remember, we're really strong, impactful energy for what we're bringing in for the new year. Then on the 8th of December, we have Bodhi Day. And Bodhi Day is Buddha, celebrating Buddha, embracing our inner stability. So isn't it interesting? Because it's like the masculine and the feminine, the polarity, the duality. It's like Buddha's coming in to stabilize us, to take the middle way, to bring support and peace. This is why one of your meditations on the app is back to back with Buddha. But Ganesha is coming in to throw a few rocks out that where we are worn and where we're needing to clear that pathway, like that message on the YouTube channel that my friend, the podcast host, had sent to me. And the new moon we've just had is offering that powerful opportunity for setting intentions related to our spiritual exploration, for our personal growth, for setting intentions of what's to come, reflecting on what you want now and what you want to incorporate into the flow of your life. It's really important, regardless of what's going on, that we take everything as wisdom, that we have our focused intention for setting our sights as high as possible for the best possible outcome. And remember, healing takes time. I've gone through years and years of difficult things. And it's because it's like I wasn't seeing things with the compound eyes. Now, I'm going to look up now because I'm seeing the Devil Tarot. And the Devil Tarot is coming up in two ways. So it's like anything with restriction is going to be coming up, But then we need to look through the compound eyes to release our limitations, to explore any thoughts that we have. And thumbs up has come up because my thumb has come up. But it's also just confirmation that the devil card is what we're needing to sort of look at what that means for us. Because remember, the opposite of the Monday mantras will happen also, because if we're not aligned, then we have to bring it back to what does a compound eye look like? Let's have a look at the actual definition. Compound eye of insects. Okay, so the compound eye in an insect is made up of individual parts known as ommatidia, and each possessing an individual lens. Okay, so that makes sense, because I was thinking, why are they telling me eyes are like mosaic? So it's like, it's not producing visually sharp image, but it's giving a wide view of everything. It is showing us and detecting the movement. And it's the wide view. Like when I work, my eyesight goes blurry because I'm not meant to focus on the physical things. It's like that's going to be happening. So it's all very interesting. I am excited for all of us. I'm excited about Ganesha moving our obstacles, which means we have to work through those obstacles that are coming our way and move them and process them so they're gone permanently. But then Buddha giving us that stability, that middle way, that inner peace. Remember, I am always here for you. If you need anything, please email Kieran at soul33@gmail.com. And the app is actually a really great gift to give someone. So if you're wanting to gift a membership, ask Kieran how to do that. We're going to take a moment now, and I want you to close your eyes if you can, if you are not driving. And what I'm giving you and what I have been giving you throughout this Monday mantra is the energy of perspective. To be able to see through the many lenses that are going to be shown to you, to see the bigger picture, so that you know that you can still focus on your intentions that you are setting for yourself for now, forever, for 2025, and to utilize this beautiful new moon power to be curious, to adapt to what's going on, and know that you are more powerful than you know. Your Monday mantra is, my compound perspective will pave the way for the new year. My compound perspective will pave the way for the new year. Soul33@gmail.com. Do your homework, and when the December meditation is up, you can do that as many times during the month of December as you wish, sending you a wider perspective, more playfulness, anchoring into who you are, your authentic expression coming out, ceremonies and rituals to enrich your life, and having a life of pleasure. See you all next week.